so long is like alchemy.
Jumping right in, this is the first possession. Watch Steph jump away from James Harden, and I don't understand it just because you know that's the first possession. You know what the game plan is on the first play, so that was a very bad sign and just ironic because Steph talked about he wanted the switch, and then Capella roofs KD on the other end, and all of a sudden this Houston crowd wants a ring on their finger right now in the first 90 seconds of game one. Good tie-up from Clay, but the intensity was there from the start. And man, I was excited for this one. So here's Harden. Harden gets away with that nudge. That nudge, it might be his greatest weapon. Never mind the step back, and then Draymond does this. And what I would like to see happen is either David West or Kevin Durant needs to sit down Draymond Green and let him know that you could cost us another championship, bruh. And it has to come from one of those two guys because Durant is maybe the greatest player in the world right now. I think that it means more from him, or David West, the true OG of the team. Watch Harden's defense here, just absolutely pathetic. And I think it kind of fooled me because initially I was like, oh, Steph looks really good. But then I realized Harden was just stuck in sand. Here's the switch that we all expected. And Harden, he came out firing, man. He did his thing, and he's always fresh just in the first quarter. I guess that's an obvious statement, and he hits the three early on. One of the few things I didn't like was this. Posting Draymond on PJ Tucker just to initiate the offense, I don't think that's a favorable matchup. Tucker, one of the few guys lower center of gravity and stronger than Draymond that's a hybrid big. And then Durant, take this at Harden. I understand Clay has the corner three ball, but an opportunity to draw an early foul on Harden there, you don't pass that up. Capella on the offensive glass and an and one for Ariza. How do you guys feel about starting the death lineup? Was that playing it too soon, or did you like that they came out like, hey, we're going to take you out right away? But the thing was, Iguodala, that's his second foul with just 4 minutes played, so in came Looney quickly. And I mentioned this in the first take. I liked Kerr's quick trigger. I liked he wasn't waiting for stuff. He was reacting quickly and adjusting quickly. There's Steph getting to the basket, wide open, feet set, it's wet. And that was like, when I saw that, I was like, oh, if we're going to get those, oh boy, right? And then Draymond, the hook call. Mind you, he already has one technical. And so he just had me real nervous. Was that Ben Wallace on the bench? What the hell? But if you take another look at this, Tucker did a little extracurricular because Draymond textbook closeout across the body to the shooting hand, but he got hooked himself. Steph, this looked like a good quick trigger right here. Now, you knew I was going to break down a bunch of these matchups right here. Looney repeatedly switched on to Harden, and I thought he did a great job. Never mind the 41 points. Following the Harden rules, making him a driver, making him use more juice, Looney did very well at that, I think so. And you're going to see Ariza, who was completely taken out of this game with foul trouble, the air ball. Now, let's take a look at D'Antoni here. 5 minutes into game one, that's not the body language you want from your leader, your coach, right? PJ Tucker in the corner, you got to sell out on the three ball. He makes a nice move, and Capella with the dunk. Not sure he got enough touches, right? He is the spot where you think like, oh, can we handle him in the paint? And then Looney, again, all the way sucked up on Harden and makes him take a tough step back. I had talked about their transition defense. Take a look at this possession. That's too easy, right? That is light work. As KD really dominated, I believe 13 first quarter points, and they were such demoralizing baskets. If you took a look at his swagger, you could really see that he was like, there ain't no way they can stop me. This is too easy. And then Harden goes down, and I talked about this. And what I meant about the psychological wear on teammates is if he's your best player and your leader, right? When he's always over dramatic and he always is acting more hurt than he is, it shows signs of weakness, right? When you're a prize fighter or something, you know how they say never show them that you're hurting, and he always shows people that he's hurting, whether he is or he isn't. And I just think that that's a mistake psychologically from the beard. Chris Paul gets in, and look at this. Just look at this offense. It doesn't feel right to watch. And then this guy comes in and knocks a three down right away. Now I want you to watch him headed back. What does he not do? He doesn't celebrate. Again, the nuances of the game, very telling. Gerald Green, their gunner, hits one of his only shots on the night. You expect him to shoot better moving forward, but tonight was about this guy. Look at him. He gets pushed out of his comfort zone a little deeper than he wants. It doesn't matter. Now Looney gets his chance on Chris Paul, and Chris Paul's going to have to adjust the way he's attacking Looney because he was very unsuccessful. And then Emba Hamute steps on the baseline, Pietrusing it, and it's a turnover. You see me nail that name, I'm proud, boy. Now here he is, David West, the former teammates, and he gets this one to go. But the stagnant ISO offense was absolutely hideous in this game. But Luke, you're going to see him roll to the rim. He missed several point-blank layups. I'm not going to try to pronounce that last name every time. I did it once. I'm not going to mess it up. And then Livingston, I think we can do more of this. CP plays with that second unit, so Sean should be matched up on him. I'd love to see the little pogo stick jumper on him. And there's a mental error running at him in the corner. I think you yield the shot to him, but hell, the way he was shooting layups, I don't blame him. And then Ryan Anderson gets taken to lunch, and Swaggy's second of the half. One thing Chris Paul will do is watch him sneak up a quick three right here, because what happens as a defender is you get so used to them taking their time and winding the clock down before they attack. Every now and then CP will quick trigger a three and kind of sneak one up on you, and then this happens. Draymond with the sinus clearing screen that was clearly legal. But take a look at it. It's hard. That's a hard call for a ref. When you see a guy genuinely get crushed like that, your instinct is to blow the whistle. But if you take another look, it was a clean one. But the problem was it resulted in a 3-ball for Ariza on that possession. And it's one of those plays where if the game was closer down the stretch, you circle that as like a, oh man, you know, that's a 3 to 5 point swing, and Kerr knows it. More Durant. Watch Harden here in no man's land. He is absolutely useless on this end of the floor. KD continues to get what he wants where he wants. Now watch Ariza go over the back on Draymond. And I think that Draymond's most genuine gripe with the officiating is the lack of over the back calls he gets. Being a smaller guy, guys go over his back all the time and dislodge him, and he never seems to get that call. Here's their third 24-second shot clock violation. This probably was the second in the game, but that's a season high for them. And let's just keep it a buck. They're taking too long to initiate the offense. Look at Harden's lack of effort there. I was really astonished at how bad he was on defense. Like, we know that he takes plays off, but just like even on the ball, he was just despicable with his effort level. CP, ISO, and look at Looney. Styles make fights, and Chris Paul is very reliant on you biting on his hezzies and his little crossovers. And Looney, we know he's not going to bite, forcing him into a terrible shot. Now, as much as I'm killing Harden for his defense, offensively, he was pretty spectacular. There he is getting left in finishing. But in the back of everybody's mind, it's like, that's a lot of juice, even the halftime show. Now watch Chris Paul here hook Durant in the hamstring. And this is why I can't fuck with Chris Paul, because he's a snitch. He complains and he snitches about physical play, but then he turns around and does shit like this. That's why he is easily one of my top 3 least liked players in this generation, honestly. Steph on Capella, and this is what I'm talking about, shot recognition. You see, he played with Capella too much, not understanding where and when to take his shot. It will come, transition, and that's a great block from Kevin Durant. I thought our transition defense was very good, even though it wasn't tested much with the slug's pace that the Rockets play at. Really wanted to keep the lead going into the half, but Harden, another strong drive left, and just pay attention to the juice and burst of these drives in the first half as opposed to the second half. Hard trap to end the half, and Swaggy gets his third, man. And I just love that he was just serious. No celebrating, came in and did what he was paid to do, tie game going into the half. Let's take a listen to Kerr at halftime. We've seen this several times throughout the season, especially when Steph's coming back from injury.
What I love about what you're doing right now, you're taking care of the ball, you're managing the game well. It's going to come. We're going to break free in this series at some point, and so are you. So just stay with it, stay solid. It's going to come. The floodgates are going to open up for you, guys.
And that's truly where Kerr earns his money. Now, this is drawn up out of the locker room. Ig with 11 points. He was relatively quiet, but he had a lot of subtle plays, a lot of pokes of the ball, right, that were just kind of quietly gaining us more possessions. You see Steph was flat-footed there. As a defender, that's very difficult to stand flat-footed and then still move laterally with the offensive player. Now here you see him moving. He's got happy feet, as I like to call it. Got away with the reach, but forcing Harden to rev the RPMs at the rim and eventually getting to the line. The game plan being displayed. Iguodala, and this was, I believe, the 5th foul on Ariza here, 10 minutes left in the third, and he was completely neutralized and taken out of this game. You can't expect him to be such a non-factor throughout the series. He's going to get better. You want to talk about a demoralizing basket, and then he turns around and glares at you. Every time Harden is on Clay, that should be the rule, back door, because we know it's not even going to be close. He's not going to break that up. Listening to Doug Gottlieb this morning, I like what he said. He said Kevin Durant has the new sky hook, right? You know how Kareem's sky hook was unguardable? This right here is unguardable. It's really, and it wears on you mentally as a team, because it's just like there is nothing to adjust. There's nothing to do about it but watch it hit the net. Honestly, Capella might be their best option on Durant because Durant doesn't seem like he wants to really get all the way to the rim. And you see him move his feet and at least get the best challenge on it, and it still didn't matter. Now, remember Harden's drives in the first half, the big explosive dunks, a couple of them right here. Let's take a look at this one. What happened? What happened? Again, the gas tank, the motor doesn't have it. Klay does. Now, you see Steph just get to the rim super easily, but how much of this is Steph getting back to where he's supposed to be or just Harden being a complete dog defensively? Now, I brought this up, Nene. I just can't believe you can't play him in this series. I really don't think you can. D'Antoni, I don't know if you go ISO Joe or what, but let's see what kind of adjustments he makes. Here's KD getting pulled out of the game. And think about this from Kerr's perspective. I talked about this in the First Take video. He sees Nene getting the switch, so he's like, hey, this is my perfect opportunity for Steph to get switched on Nene, right? And Steph can kind of build some confidence, but then it results in this. But that's definitely what Kerr's logic was. Like, he saw Nene out there. He was like, let me get Steph on him so he can, get going here. Obviously, it didn't work. You're going to see the two possessions, and this is, again, shot recognition. He blows by him, he pulls back out, and then gets a contested jumper from no man's land. I will say, if we somehow blew the game, Kerr would be absolutely killed for that move. And then this is the type of call that really just concerns me. So that was not shooting. They ruled that on the floor. And a guy's right there in clear view, and those are the type of calls that really just make you wonder sometimes about the NBA. Eric Gordon finally got going in the fourth quarter, but they're going to need more from him. And take a look at Nene. If Nene is making Klay look like Kyrie at the top here, you might want to get him out of the game. Draymond's got to finish that. But, this is a 4-point game here in the fourth quarter. By no means was it over, but Killa, what do you have, 4 second-half threes? Prime Klay showed up on the road. Now, I want you to watch Looney set a screen on Chris Paul here in this transition. Watch the rebound. Watch Looney. You see him pick Chris Paul off, and then that opens up Klay for the transition banger. The subtleties of the game, Kevon Looney getting it done, and Klay puffing the Magic Dragon. With Steph on the bench here, you see the timestamp, and this is the death lineup with Sean, aka the clamper lineup, right? There's nowhere to attack defensively, and you see with a 9-point lead, strategically, this is the lineup to play, honestly, and then Sean running the floor and getting the basket. The way Durant and Klay were going, you could make the argument they didn't need Steph's offense, therefore they didn't want to get him exposed defensively. KD, another pulley, but Kerr has to go back to Steph. Look at him on the bench. Right? You can't stir the pot like that because everybody today would be talking about it. There's the lob, and if you notice, Harden doesn't want to get to the rim in the second half. He doesn't have the juice to. I know I'm beating that drum over and over again, but it's facts. Curry with the foul. One thing I didn't like about his defense was I don't understand why he was holding Ariza so much on the switch. We know Harden's not going to pass to Ariza off the pick and roll. He's not going to slip that, so I thought that was unnecessary, but here he is, active passing lanes, hands, braced himself for the crack. What I also find funny is they're very selective in the replays they show. They showed this replay 5 times saying, oh, it was a blown call, but you could also argue Klay never had possession off the miss. But then they don't replay some of those terrible calls we saw earlier on. Now, this is going to result in really the dagger of the game from Klay. But again, we've seen a lot of suspect calls where, for whatever reason, the crew doesn't give you a replay of it because they don't want to show it to you. Harden, again, driving, does not want to shoot at this point in the game. And the turnover, we jumped several of those corner passes, and it really sealed the deal. But I just love the mentality here. The game is well over. But this is psychological warfare Kevin Durant is waging. He knows Harden is weak mentally, and he keeps attacking him, just letting him know, like, this ain't over. We're going to keep coming. You cannot stop me. A picture says 1,000 words as the camera pans across Toyota Center and the Dubs flex on the road. I'm out, y'all.